Hello. We are here for our weekly romance oracle message. Right up front, we've got the king. All right. So, man, authority, male sexual energy, things pertaining to the law or justice. So, interestingly enough, our Mayor Freddie, signed into law some of the strictest restrictions in the country against new data centers. And that included cooperation and participation from the zoning committee as well. So it's not just a one-man lone mission, really positive male energy there. So I think that this is a good week to appreciate positive, healthy, masculine energy and leadership where we see it, because we've had a lot of examples of bad leadership, right? Bad, toxic masculinity. We've been shown what that looks like, definitely. But then there's also these examples of emerging really positive, healthy, matriarchal masculine examples as well. So I personally have been enjoying watching clips of John Ossoff during some of the congressional hearings recently, or House. I'm not sure if he's in Senate or Congress, but boy, he's lovely to watch and listen to. But I think we should celebrate that energy where we see it growing, right? And at the same time, like, if you are a masculine person, if you identify with that energy and that lean in that direction, then I would say, like, nurture those qualities and virtues of a healthy masculine: the protector, the provider, the nurturer of the women, the children, the animals, the planet, the goodly king. Think about King Arthur. Andrew Tate has fallen into disgrace and been arrested, and so many like him recently have either died or gone ill or disappeared or fallen into disgrace. And so we're seeing how, when the Satan's example of toxic masculine role models show the true colors are showing, and the illusion is starting to crack, and they're reaping what they've been sowing. And all these guys and young boys and men that they have worked up into these attitudes of like hatred and backwardness that are keeping them, frankly, very unhappy and lonely and isolated. They're seeing what it leads to. It leads to going to solitary confinement, where you're kept up all night with someone, a cannibal next door, who screams through the night. That's what that gets you. So we're also seeing what positive masculinity looks like and what that gets us. And that gets us Zoran Mamdani's and Mayor Freddy's and people, like James Tallarico. And there are positive, like, oh my God, Pope Leo. I really appreciate Pope Leo. Like, there's so many good examples. So I think as a feminine energy, you're wanting to draw that in. That's what we are attracted to. That's what we desire. That's what we crave. That's what makes our nervous system feel safe. And then we can blossom and thrive in that kind of care and that kind of partnership and that kind of environment. So I think for the feminines who want that kind of partnership, I think we should focus on appreciating the examples of men that are stepping into those shoes and stepping into the spotlight, putting themselves out there, and using their voice and strength in positive ways, and really show that appreciation and put our focus on that, rather than, having to completely be just discouraged by the bad examples out there, right? And if you are a masculine, I would say lean into these goodly virtues and qualities of kindness and strength and leadership. So this is really great. Man, authority, male sexual energy, things pertaining to the law and justice. So very good, very good. And if you guys aren't aware of the local issue in Nashville, we have a world-class zoo that has so many species, and so many endangered species have been rescued there and have been able to reproduce and I don't reverse the endangered status or whatever. So they wanted to build a data center right next to the zoo, and that would have obviously destroyed the habitat around the area. It would have been bad for the people that live in the area, the animals that live in the area. So like everybody in Nashville came together to really voice their opinions about how they cared about the zoo, and we cared about the animals and nature and the people in that area. And the mayor was like, the best part about signing this bill is how many people raised their voice and got involved. So again, there are people out there that can give you a new feeling and a new perspective about, government and politics and leadership and being a good steward of your neighbors and people around you and the animals and the environment. And so, I think it's just really nice to celebrate that positive energy so it keeps growing, keep nurturing it. Oh my God, love and partnership. When we are, there's so many influencers out there that are trying to really divide the sexes and the genders and everybody in between. And what we really need is more love and coming together. And, when we declare what our higher standard and what we won't, settle for anymore, then we can shift our focus to the good and what we will, what we want and what we want to promote and, what we want more of. So I think that what we need is less of, obviously less of the ego battle and more of authentic partnership, meeting people authentically, and also being able to trust your intuition that tells you who's got the capacity to have a real partnership there. And so I think when we lean into the healing and in all the change and transformation that we've been going through, and then last week we were thinking about boundaries and how to protect ourselves in healthy ways that keep us our hearts open and build our trust with ourselves and help us know who we can trust and who we need to earn that trust over time, right? How to allow people to earn the trust. That way we can learn how to trust ourselves, because then we don't have porous boundaries. And then that makes it safer to love, because our vibration has changed and we're not attracting the same kind of calamity and chaos anymore, because we don't resonate with it at all. And even when it does come into our stratosphere here, we can feel that it's off and it doesn't match. Ooh, Lady of the Lake. Absolute truth, courage, self-respect, and responsibility. So now that we are starting these new cycles, it's like having the utmost utter self-respect. So that's what you're calling in, that's what you're attracting, and you're repelling anything that would not be that, and like being in alignment with that truth. So that means that if you are ready to meet someone who's equally yoked and ready for partnership and ready to build a long-term commitment and life with someone, then you don't want to waste your time on people that don't have those intentions for you, or they're simply not in that season of their life. And you're not going to convince yourself that they're going to change their mind later, right? Your actions will align authentically with what your heart, soul, body, heart is leading you and wanting to do, what your soul needs. So not acting out of alignment with that. And then, protection along the path. So yes, believe that we are protected, believe that we are guided, believe that we have so many energetic influences and personalities and spiritual, like a spiritual support team. We've got angels and ancestors and passed on loved ones that are watching out for us, that are insanely protective of us. And so if we can listen to our gut at all and start to act on those red flags and steer clear and put ourselves in situations where we're going to be meeting people that we are in alignment with, right? And whether you're this goodly king looking for that good woman, or you're a good woman looking for this kind of goodly king, it's like these two, right? The woman of integrity, spiritually aligned, brave, courageous, putting herself out there, but, you know, like setting boundaries, you know, commanding respect, not demanding respect, right? You behave and carry yourself in a respectful manner, and that's what you'll get. When you act like a brat but demand respect, you won't, right? Make love your motive. Love is what you are working towards. You want to climb to a higher type of love and partnership. And so in doing so, you have to put yourself out there a bit and take the risk and believe that you are being protected on your path. Right? My niece that I work with yesterday, she was looking at one of the Facebook Marketplace ads, and there was like this luxury stroller that was for sale for like this crazy low price. And she was like, do you think this is a scam? And I was like, if you have to ask, it's definitely a scam. And it sure enough was, but it was like the price was too low. They were real shoddy about like how they wanted to meet up. And it was like the person was like, can you put a deposit in my husband's Venmo to hold your place so that we can make sure to, like, you know, if we're going to stop taking calls on, because it's such an expensive, you know, such a valuable item, like put down this deposit. And I was like, what? But they're not selling it for $600. They're selling it for like $150. So they're probably just running the scam. So you will put $35 in their account and then they're going to disappear and get however many people to give them $35, because probably it's like below the threshold of like a chargeable crime, right? But $600 is a misdemeanor. So think about that. So we were like, no, this is not going to happen. She's like, well, how do I tell them that I don't want to meet up? I'm like, ghost their ass. You don't have to tell them shit, but also like tell them you changed your mind. Tell them you're not comfortable. Tell them you'll only meet them in person and you won't get any cash until you're there, and you're going to Kroger and meet in the bag or the cart area. So you're like in well lit area with probably cameras or whatever all around you. And she sure enough, she sent back the message, I don't feel comfortable going through with the transaction. And they were like, F you, like, and they were giving her all kinds of like violent, nasty language and threats. And she was like, oh my God, who scams a pregnant woman? I was like, these days, who are they not scamming? You know, they go for the most vulnerable. So they're not like going after the smart, strong people. They're going after people who need things and who you know are enticed by a possibility that, you know. But so anyway, the point being is that her intuition told her that was not right. But you see how over time your mind kind of is like, it works like gymnastics to make it seem like, oh, well, maybe they're doing this and I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to be judgmental, even down to like, you know, someone just being like so nice that they don't want to disappoint someone that's likely scamming them. You know, like, how am I going to let them down? Like, how do I tell them I don't want to meet up? The other person was like, maybe you can tell them you'll meet up with this, and you know, if you gotta, like, all the people around her were basically like just helping her into the scam, right? So protection is around, but we have to listen to that and believe it. I mean, I myself, there's so many times where I get an intuitive hunch that something's not right and something's off, and then I gaslight myself thinking that I'm just being judgmental. Right? So I think that it's good to catch yourself when you're being critical and judgmental, but also sometimes it truly is your intuition warning you that something is off. And almost every time it turns out that like whatever I was thinking, it turns out to be 10 times more grotesque. All right, so that is all for tonight, y'all. I'm gonna go for my nice little walk. I'm gonna work on Substack article that I've been wound up in bureaucratic tape and adulting for like 3 days. So I haven't been able to do anything productive like all week. So I'm finally getting centered again. Hopefully I'll get some study time in tonight. And I'm taking one of those like training workshops for something, and that's always fun and hopeful. And we'll see how it goes. And then just gotta say this. I was thinking yesterday or recently, like, man, I could go for another white enamel cast iron 6-quart Dutch oven with the gold top, because like mine is taking some beatings and it's had a lot of love, and I need a second one, you know, to make sure that I've got, you know, the beautiful kitchen set going. And at Aldi, they always have like these beautiful like kitchenware for like half off what you would get it anywhere else. And I also was like, man, I need something that's better for heating my bread on the stove top if I don't put it in the oven. So like I want to find something like that. And oh my God, like I went down the impulse purchase aisle because I was like, okay, I need to just go over there and make sure they haven't gotten any cast iron in before I go. Y'all, I'm telling you, within 2-3 days of thinking this, I go in for my weekly grocery run, and there is a cream enamel cast iron 6-quart Dutch oven with the gold top, and then there's also like this kind of like cool robin's egg blue, like an antique-y, like tealy kind of blue, with a gold top as well, and it was an oven or a bread dome, a cast iron enamel covered bread dome for the stovetop. I'm like, 2 out of 2 for a really good deal. So I'm excited about my cookware. All right, guys, that is all for tonight. Ciao.